Entrepreneurial Edge is brought to you by Business Banking from FNB, because small ideas can lead to big business. FNB, how can we help you?
Hello and a warm welcome to the Entrepreneurial Edge. I'm Chris Bishop. Now we're coming to the end of a very long and tiring year for all you entrepreneurs out there. But here on the Entrepreneurial Edge, we have time for one or two more uplifting stories before the end of 2011. So what about the tale of Deon Pillay, a man who at 31 is at the head of his own technology company. It was a career that didn't start out well. Now few people can claim to have been fired by their own father. Fewer still can claim to have been fired on the grounds that they wanted to watch the 1998 Soccer World Cup. And before we talk about this to the man himself, let's take a look at what this technology company does.
Esizwe Technologies was established 8 years ago by Mr. Pillay. Basically, he started off at his home. He set up a little office in his bedroom and started off selling used computers, laptops. Initially, it started off with IT hardware, software, and consumables. Later on, we realized there was a need for stationery and office furniture. So in the past 5 years, I would say, we grew with experience in office furniture and stationery. And now one of our biggest sellers is office furniture. With furniture, in 2009, we saw a market to establish a chair factory, which you see right now. We started it in 2009 with 2 staff members, and it is grown now to 7. Business for the chair factory is booming. 5 years ago, we sat and we discussed goals and plans to move forward. And one of our priorities were to buy a property. This year, 2011, we've acquired and is now currently under construction. And we plan to move in by end of February 2012. With the new building, we plan to increase our staff complement to 50. It's now at 30. Our target market is 60% public sector. When I say public sector, I mean government entities, government organizations, and the other 40% is the private sector, where it's a lot of corporates that we target. Moving into our new premises, we would like to balance it out 50-50, 50 with the government entities and 50 with the corporate companies. 2012, by end of 2012, we're looking at opening a branch in Durban. By the end of 2013, we're looking at a branch in Cape Town. So I can safely say by the end of 2013, Esizwe Technologies will have a national footprint in the office solutions industry. Deon is a hands-on, call him a hands-on manager. He's there every step of the way. If it means the factory guys are working overtime till 11 at night, he will sit here until 1 in the morning if he needs to be. He's always there for his staff. The staff in this company have grown with him. A lot of us have grown with him. I might be older than him, but I still look up to him.
Now in the studio, we have the man himself, Deon Pillay, the managing director and founder of Esizwe Technology. Just looking at those pictures there of yourself hard at work, what does it feel like at this particular time?
It's great to look back, Chris, and see what we've accomplished as a team. I mean, it's a good learning lesson we've learned over the past couple of years. We've created employment, which is important, and we're contributing to the economy. What
about you? Who are you? Where did you come from?
I had a hard start, Chris. 1998 was my first job, where I started off working in my family business. It was my dad's company, and it only lasted 6 months. And
because as we said in the intro, you were actually fired from your first job by your own father.
Yes,
how was that?
Yes. Chris, I was a truck. My father had a transport company, so I would be a truck assistant, going with the trucks, delivering to Cape Town, to Durban, delivering goods for him. And during 1998 was the Soccer World Cup, and I wanted time off to watch the Soccer World Cup, and I refused to work during the World Cup. So my dad fired me, my own dad. And I think he's fortunate I didn't take him to the CCMA. But I didn't speak to him for like 2 months after that, and that would prove to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. I mean, being fired.
Because it must be very difficult around the family table at lunchtime, you know,
Yeah.
bearing in mind what had happened.
My mom, I think, didn't speak to him for a month. I didn't speak to him for like 2 months. And as time went by, I think, now it's a big joke in the family. He actually says it's takes the credit for firing me because it put me where I am today. So it turned out to be a good thing.
And did you enjoy the 1998 World Cup? That's the
Yes,
question.
I did. I did. My team didn't win the World Cup, but it was a good World Cup.
So it was worth it as well in
It
that
was
way.
worth it, yes.
But then what was your path after this? You were fired, you had no job. Then where did you go?
Later on in 1998, Chris, I joined Anglo Gold Ashanti. And there my career would last for 7 years. The first year it was just an administrative job in the human resource department. And later on I climbed up in the company. I got into global procurement, where I was eventually in charge of IT procurement for Anglo Gold Ashanti.
And what was it like working as a young man in a giant like Anglo Gold Ashanti? Just a number there, no?
I was just a number, but when I first started off, it was just about earning money. I loved earning a pay packet at the end of the month. I would never use my money. I would just love earning money, and it was never enough for me. I mean, from a young age, I always looked on wheeling and dealing. I loved it, doing things on the side. I saw an opportunity to buy and sell used computers and printers to family and friends, and I worked on it. In 2003, I started a business, Esizwe Technology, and I focused on buying second-hand computers and printers and printer cartridges, whatever I could get my hands on to try and make a few extra bucks. I did it. And 2004, it was going good. I decided that I want to get an office space. I employed 2 people in 2004. During this time, I was still working, so it was difficult for me. I would wake up in the mornings and get to my business first, work in an hour and a half, and then go back to work. Lunchtimes and after work, I would go back there and work late night to try and get the company going. In the first 2 or 3 years, it's really just foundation of the business which you're trying to establish. And it was going good for me. I was progressing. Whatever money I had saved, I was pumping it into the small business, and it was growing. It was doing good. In 2005, I decided, okay, I want to quit Anglo Gold. I saw opportunities. I saw potential in my business. I saw that I could make it grow. So in mid-2005, I decided, okay, I'm going to quit Anglo Gold, and I went full-time into Esizwe.
Now, I have to ask you this. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you had that eye away from your day job,
Yes.
as it were, and you were developing it on the side. And I know a lot of people do these things these days. How would you feel if one of your employees that you have now was doing the same thing?
Look, at the time when I was working for Anglo Gold, it was not conflict of interest.
Yeah.
What I was doing wasn't conflicting with my job, so it was okay to do it. And at some time in my career, I did tell my manager that this is my plans, I want to move on, I want to proceed with my business. So it was all good and clean with Anglo Gold. There was no conflict of interest.
But it is difficult, though, isn't it, to sort of like
It is,
bind up that spirit and balance thing.
And it's the most difficult thing is you don't have the time because you need to concentrate on your day job. I mean, running a business and starting off the business is the most difficult thing you can do. So yeah, in the early years, the first 2 to 3 years, it was difficult, up until a point where I thought, okay, if I take the risk now in 2005 and quit my job, I'm sure I can make it work.
And when you did get going, I mean, how humble were the beginnings of Esizwe, the technology business, when you started?
It was very difficult, Chris. Firstly, I mean, most entrepreneurs come across having finance issues. Fortunately for me, I had a bit of cash saved up. When I left Anglo Gold, it was a small pension packet which I took with me. So I couldn't afford to pay good people. I mean, it was a small business. So it was myself and 2 other employees which I had, which started the business. And it was on a small scale. We were growing and we were doing business as I wanted to do it. And at times I would pressurize my dad to help me out financially, which he did.
And how tight was the cash in those early days? Give us an example.
Look, it was very difficult. Cash flow is a major challenge in business. And what I used to do, Chris, was I would go to a supplier A, and use up my credit facility. And then at the end of the month, I wouldn't have that cash to pay him back. I would go to the next supplier and borrow on credit from him. But the 3rd month, I'll go back to supplier A, I'll pay him. So I would rotate and use that money from suppliers to turn my business out.
And what other tricks did you learn in those early days when you were getting this business set up?
think to make the right decisions. I think it is so important to make the right decisions. You know, I've made good decisions all along the way. And when I started my business, I was looking for a niche product which I can sell, something that clients always needed. And one of the products I sell, which I excel in, is printer cartridges. So it's something that you would always need to use. You're always printing, you always need to buy printer cartridges. And I would invest heavily into printer cartridges and turn that.
And what about the banks? I mean, small businesses, entrepreneurs who come here, they always complain about the banks and say they don't give me enough support, they didn't want to lend when I had no collateral. What was your experience?
You see, it's difficult in the starting just because if you don't have assets and you don't have collateral, the banks are not going to entertain you. So raising capital finance is very difficult. So I had to turn to private people, my dad, friends and family to help me out with capital. I had a bit of my own which helped me. But what I found is going down the years down the line, if you involve your bank in your business. I mean, I deal with a guy called Bram Castellan from FNB, and he is a sublime person. I made him part of my business, and he knows my strategies, my goals. He knows the ins and outs of my business. And once the bank knows what's your plans and what's your goals, and they see you grow, they're there to help you. And I found that with asset finance, they've helped me. With overdraft facilities, FNB has come out short and helped me.
We're going to talk a lot more about your business and strategy and general conditions for entrepreneurs in the second half. But just to finish off this first half, what do you think made you as an entrepreneur?
Perseverance. I think failure was never an option for me. When I got into business, Chris, I was optimistic and I was positive. I made good calculations, good decisions, and I knew that I wanted to excel in what I'm going to be doing. So I employed the right people. I made sure that along the way I got the right people to do the job. And I found that if you have the right people and the right support structures, I've got good management teams, I've got good employees, and that's a recipe for growth and success, Chris.
Deon Pillay, the Managing Director of Esizwe Technology. Hold that thought there. We're going to talk more in the second half. It's time for a short break now. We'll see you right after this.